Today, you're going to learn 8 tips to get you started as a UX designer. Hi everyone, my name is Leif Wallace and I want to welcome you to Wallace TV, where you can improve your life through creative advice. And today, I want to share with you 8 key tips to get you started as a UX designer. And for many of you, you may have found it really hard trying to get your head around UX design, UI design, product design, web design, visual design, and how you actually get started as a UX designer is what I want to come through today. Today, I want to help you gain a sense of clarity. As always, it's my focus to give you some clarity, not just about who you are, but also about where you want to be. And the first thing I want to share when it comes into getting started about UX design is this great quote by Steve Jobs, where he said, "Design is not just what it looks and feels like, design is how it works." And a UX designer, the goal of the UX designer is not just to focus on what it looks like, but primarily how it actually works. And I want to help you understand that a user experience designer, their tools of the job or the way that they work is not so much from a visual aspect, but it's more so from a research and an experience focused aspect. Now, a UX designer is different from a UI designer. A UI designer, they focus on the visuals, the interface, the shadows, the buttons, the colors, the type, all of these different things from a UI visual aspect, right? But a user experience designer, they're focusing on everything, but they're primarily going to come from a research standpoint, a psychological standpoint, a human behavior focused standpoint, and they want to create the synergy between the user's goals and the business goals. So the user experience designer uses a range of tools in their work. They want to basically come to an understanding about the business that they're working with, and then they want to really truly understand the user who they are designing that product for. A UX designer focuses on cognitive skills. They're looking at how a user thinks. They're looking at the behavior of that user. When they come to test that product, they're using usability testing. They are going to that extra depth from a psychological level to find out about that product and how that user will interact with that product. A UX designer also focuses on the strategy. How are they going to deliver this project? What are the steps of getting this product from point A to point B? And how do we do that in the most seamless and easy way? They are basically the one in the team to also facilitate the stakeholders' needs and also the needs of the design team and the developers and everybody that's included in this project. The UX designer also helps to facilitate this process along the way. So the UX designer has a range of skills, but the core focus for a UX designer is more research focused, more behavioral focused, more cognitive. They are not just focusing on the UI, which many people confuse UX design with, but they're primarily focused from a research standpoint, from a behavioral standpoint, to look at what the user needs primarily. The second thing I want to look at today is that when getting into UX design, where do you actually begin? The first thing I would say is you need to start with the basics. Get a very basic understanding of what UX design is, and from there you can springboard into getting into more in-depth things, okay? The first thing you want to understand is you need to understand the user. So you need to look at user research tools. How do we actually do that? Look into researching that. And I'm going to share some books with you that can really help you along the way, right? Empathy mapping. These are the skills that you need to learn. Read books like the Business Generation Model. That will help you understand how to break down a business and look into the different aspects and core functions of a business, right? But UX design, you're thinking user first. What problems are we actually solving? Who is this for? Who is the target audience of this product, right? You want to look at the vision. What is the vision of this company? What is the strategy of how we're going to deliver this product to market as well? But I want to share some actual books to really help you along the way, okay? So the first book is a book by Don Norman. You could even call him the father of UX design. Some even say, I believe says, he coined the term user experience design. And he has a book called The Design of Everyday Things. And he looks at literally just everyday things and how they are designed and why it's so important for us to pay attention to the experience for every user, irrespective of the product itself. You have to focus on the user and how they're going to experience that product. Another book is by a gentleman named Jesse James Garrett, and he's got a book called The Elements of User Experience Design. Especially for a beginner, this is a very good book to help you understand the different 5 core principles that he outlines in his book to really help you understand user experience design from a beginner's level right the way up, okay? Another great book I love is by a guy named Steve Krug, and he's got a book called Don't Make Me Think, and it really helps you to have a common sense approach to web usability. And he really breaks down from an interface standpoint, from a design standpoint, how you need to focus on user experience and why it's so important. Another great book to focus on is a book called Lean UX, and Lean UX helps us to understand the principles to improve user experience design. And it's more about the way in which we work in the context of UX, and not so much from a Don Norman standpoint, but it comes to us more from a principles of actual ways of working and lean ways of working, and why it's important to understand lean design, lean UX as well. A good thing to do as well is to take a short course. One of the short courses that I really think are great out there in the market at the moment is by General Assembly. There are many courses to get people introduced into UX as well, but General Assembly has one of the most, I shouldn't say robust, but you could say one of the most respected courses that's on the market as well. So I can definitely say take General Assembly's course if you're looking at what course to start with, okay? Another thing you need to pay attention to as a beginner especially is to follow design leaders. And there's 4 design leaders that I've picked out. There's always more, but there's 4 specific design leaders that I've picked out for specific reasons. So the first person is Don Norman. Don Norman, you know, I mentioned before, the father of user experience design. The Design of Everyday Things is his book. And also his partner, Jakob Nielsen. They've started a company called the Nielsen Norman Group, and the Nielsen Norman Group is one of the user experience design companies that works with some of the big Fortune 500 companies around the world, and they do amazing design work. They've been going, I believe, since the late 90s, and they've really established in the community. Another person you could look at is a guy named Jared Spool, and Jared Spool has a website called User Interface Engineer, and he has some great videos online as well, so check out Jared Spool. And by no means least, my 4th person I'm mentioning today is a guy by the name of David Kelly, and he is the CEO of a company called IDEO. And IDEO, they specialize in user experience design, and he, in some may say, has coined the term design thinking. So definitely when you look at IDEO, they work with companies like Apple and many of the big companies out there, but he is definitely somebody to pay attention to as well, okay? Now, do you actually need a degree as a UX designer? Now, this is a big question I get asked all the time, and one thing I will say about a degree is that I personally don't have a user experience design degree, but I've been working in it for such a long time now, or working around it in different ways and then formally in it for about just over 6 years now, that it's made me understand that I've seen both ways. I've seen people come from a very HCI, which we call human computer interaction, very HCI high level standpoint, from a design standpoint, from a psychological standpoint. I've seen people come like myself, I've come from architecture, some people have come from graphic design. So many people have come from so many different backgrounds into user experience design that you don't actually need a degree. But that being said, having a degree has also helped, especially for those who are heavy user research individuals. Definitely their psychological background makes them understand from an anthropological standpoint why and how to apply those principles into user research as well. My 4th thing I want to help you understand today, especially for beginners, is very, very quickly push yourself out there. When you get some understanding, you've even got maybe a little portfolio together, get an internship. Try yourself to get into some good companies, startups even, get yourself some experience. Nothing beats experience on the job. Personally, I would try to get with companies who have more senior designers on board, because with senior designers on board, you can very quickly learn some skills that you may not learn being the only UX designer in a startup. So I would preferably, in my beginning of my career, try and work for a more corporate company. But at the same time, if you are a very proactive individual, you're an easy person to learn by yourself, going into a startup can also be very beneficial, because you are almost the person that has to learn everything, do everything very quickly, okay? The 5th point I want to share with you today is that you need to learn your tools. UX design is not just about having the skill set to understand user research, business design tools, business development tools, strategy, understanding product design, project management, facilitation skills, but also understanding some of the tools that UX designers are using as well. Now, some may say Sketch is a UX design tool. This is the thing with UI and UX. You have to understand that Sketch allows a UX designer to do more UI work, right? But the tools of a UX designer are more user research. more usability testing. You know, these are more tools of a UX designer. And the way we use these things is through like post-it notes, sketch pads, whiteboards, facilitation. These are more the tools of the UX designer. But a UI designer, they are more coming and using tools like Sketch and Photoshop and these visual tools. But UX designers can still use visual tools to then communicate the research that they found along the way, to work on projects independently. If you look at websites like Dribbble, if you look at websites like Behance, to a lot more senior designers, they may say that they have become almost playgrounds to just be very much artistic. So a lot of the projects you may see, they may look beautiful, but from a UX standpoint, they're not actually functional when you want to, if you was to deliver or ship that product. But actually working on independent projects refines your skills, hones in on where you're good at, and helps you to also know what you like over time as well. And it also helps you to stand out because you may have a nice Dribbble profile, a nice Behance profile. It opens the door for more conversation. If you work independently, it also opens the door for you to get more client work. So definitely work on projects independently. And it also communicates to a potential hiring manager that you are a self-starter, you're a go-getter, you're proactive. And these are tools and attributes about yourself that make you more attractive along the way. And this is the point that many people do not pay attention to, is you need to work on your LinkedIn profile regularly. Now, many a designer will say to you, I get a lot of work through Dribbble, I get a lot of work through Behance, but me personally, I get a lot of work through LinkedIn. I meet a lot of designers through LinkedIn. I meet a lot of senior designers through LinkedIn. I learn a lot from people because I'm on LinkedIn. And many people do not pay attention to their LinkedIn. You can meet some amazing people. I've met creative directors, group creative directors, heads of companies, just by reaching out to people on LinkedIn. I mean, from getting jobs to partnerships to collaborations, I've done it all through LinkedIn. And I'd advise every UX designer, especially if you're starting in your career, get on LinkedIn, meet some amazing people, and start to reach out to people more senior in their career so that you can learn from them along the way. You see, it's one thing to just think, oh, I need to use LinkedIn to get a job. But what makes you more attractive as an individual that somebody would want to hire or work with is when they see you rubbing shoulders with people who are more senior, but also when you yourself take the initiative upon that to go and speak to people who have reached a further place in their career. You can learn and speed up your development just by having one conversation or interview. You may learn a book to read or a tip that they may share or some type of article that you didn't know about before. So definitely learn how to use LinkedIn. If you'd love to learn more about LinkedIn, just click the link in the description below and you'll definitely find some stuff that will be great for you. Thank you for watching Wallace TV. Definitely click that red button and subscribe. And please follow me on all my social media platforms, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Snapchat. You've got my links in the description below where you can find out more. And if you love to know more, definitely download my 25-point UX design checklist. I've got the link in the description as well. Definitely click that, check that out. It's a free resource for you to use and share with your friends and your peers as well, okay? And remember, by watching Wallace TV, my thing is that you can improve your life through creative advice. I want to thank you. Stay blessed, stay positive, and have a great day. Take care. If you've liked this video today, don't forget to download my free 25-point UX design checklist. It's really great. It's a checklist that will allow you to go through some of the key things that we may forget as UX designers. And even if you are a seasoned professional, it's helpful. And if you're a beginner, then it's definitely helpful for you. So download it for free and definitely go on my Facebook and just contact me and let me know what you think about it going forward. Take care.